The legendary rapper King Von. I'm personally a big fan of that guy. He's still alive in many people's hearts. Today's video is going to be totally different, and before I start to say anything, first, you watch this.
He was a serial killer who bragged about killing people, and he professed and confessed to be a demon.
He was that, bro. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
Von gave me a lot of passes. He could have killed me a couple times.
I was happy as hell when I found out Von was dead. I cooked for the whole day.
I was relieved for the community, man, because he was over there torturing them guys, man. I ain't
Today, I'm breaking down the story of the man who gave us King Von, the legendary figure known as Silk from Ada Park. Before Daquan Bennett came into this world, there was Walter E. Bennett, better known as Silk. Despite looking like identical twins, father and son were separated by 2 decades, with Von's pops entering the world on October 28, 1974. From day one, Walter Bennett's life was anything but ordinary. Multiple sources say his parents were so entrenched in street life that a hospital birth wasn't an option. They couldn't risk who might show up, since even back then the streets were wild. A midwife delivered him on silk sheets, which is exactly how Walter got his street name. His folks had stacked serious paper from their hustling game, enough to live that luxury lifestyle. Growing up in Ada Park, which sits in the Morgan Park neighborhood, Silk had parents with completely different energies. His father moved like a calculated gangster who only spoke when necessary, while his mother was pure electricity. Don't let her being a woman fool you. She'd check anyone who stepped out of line, but she earned major respect throughout the hood because of her fierce independence, a trait that rubbed off heavy on her son. When his parents separated, Big Reggie stepped in as his stepfather and became a massive influence. This street legend turned millionaire schooled Silk on navigating the game, setting him on course to become a legend himself. Interestingly enough, Silk almost took a completely different path because people from the block remember him hooping at Ada Park. And despite his size, dude had serious skills that made folks believe NBA dreams were possible. Think about how different everything would have been. If Silk made the league, his whole family escapes the hood. Von never grows up in O-Block, never steps foot in Wick City, never jumps off the porch or becomes a street demon. V-Roy never exists. He never links with Dirk or OTF, and that whole legendary story never happens. Just another wealthy athlete's kid living comfortable. Instead, Silk joined the Black Disciples and dove into the streets, which naturally brought legal problems that landed him a 9-year bid at Menard Correctional Facility, one of the most treacherous prisons around. After doing his time, Silk earned serious respect and rewards from his organization for standing tall and never cooperating. His silence and loyalty got him his own BD Tower at Robert Taylor Homes on State Street to run independently. The BDs didn't just hand him this because he kept quiet. They recognized Silk possessed the intelligence and instincts to actually run it properly. This is when Von's father started generating serious wealth. Streets say Silk became a millionaire while still young, and his name rang bells everywhere. He commanded genuine respect, took care of his people, and had a generous spirit, but he kept his circle extremely tight with just a few trusted soldiers. Silk was selective about his company because rolling with him meant you had to be prepared for absolutely anything, since he was authentically living that dangerous lifestyle. Sound familiar? That's pure King Von energy right there. Tay Capone even mentioned in an interview how not everybody could be around Von because you knew violence was coming and you needed to be ready to use your weapon.
2012, everybody couldn't hang with Von. Like, if you was hanging with Von, you had to accept everything that came with Von. You had to accept that you was gonna be in shootings, accept that it was gonna be that, and you had to be with it. You feel me? With Von, you feel me? And this was a lot of the time. Everybody didn't want to hang with him. They couldn't, because you had to be on what he was on. A lot of wasn't on what Von was on, because Von was like that. You feel me? So that was faking, for sure ain't want to end up somewhere with Von by themselves. You feel me? Niggas that was soft, really didn't want nothing to do with this. They went back. They weren't trying to kick it with Von and stay around him too long. You feel me?
King Von's father wasn't holding back when it came to flashing his wealth. The man had a serious obsession with whips, constantly copying the latest rides and pulling up to the neighborhood in them. Whenever Silk came through, the entire block came alive. He was basically the hood's biggest celebrity. When it came to women, Silk had serious game too. There's this famous story about a keychain he kept on him at all times, loaded with keys from different women across the city. Every single one Vaughn trusted him enough to hand over access to their spot so he could slide through whenever he felt like it. Between stacking major paper and his player lifestyle, Silk ended up fathering 7 kids with different baby mothers, which explains why things didn't work out with Vaughn's mom and why father and son never got quality time together. But here's what's important. Despite everything, multiple sources confirm Silk wasn't an absent father by choice. The lack of time with Vaughn wasn't because he didn't care. It was because he kept catching cases and bouncing in and out of lockup. And Vaughn genuinely loved his pops, never spoke anything but positive about him, and basically idolized the man. Vaughn constantly posted on Twitter about how the streets stole his father away from him. Silk's life was cut short when Vaughn was just 11 years old. And according to street sources, there are 2 theories floating around about what really happened. The first story claims Silk got killed over a robbery gone wrong. Hassan Craig, who's Vonnie's father, says Silk broke into somebody's crib and hid a lick for their cash. But the problem was the house had surveillance cameras, and when the victim reviewed the footage, they identified Silk.
Who hired him? The whole city knew who hired him because Silk allegedly broke into a house and took some money, and the people had cameras or whatever the case may be. And I later found out who it was, and I didn't know him from a can of paint. They like, man, you got to know him, you know, and so I don't know him. And word got back to me that somebody dropped a bug in his ear and let him know that I ain't about that, and I ain't, you know, I'm a Muslim and I'm doing this, that, and other. So stand down. You ain't got to worry about him coming to retaliate or what's this, that, and other. So it's just what it was. You know what I mean? That's just what it was. And do I believe he was backdoored by the people who he went on this thing with? Yeah, but I don't have any proof, and I only speak facts. You know what I mean? I only speak facts, and whatever in the dark got to come to the light, and no soul shall taste death without God's permission. So that's just...
Though Vaughn's father had mad love for many people, he also accumulated plenty of enemies, cats who were envious of his success and wouldn't hesitate to put him 6 feet under if they got the chance. So it wouldn't be shocking if he got set up by someone close to him, because that's just how the streets operate, full of snakes everywhere, and you can never be certain who's really loyal. Now, plenty of folks have doubted this robbery theory, since Silk was sitting on serious money and he didn't build that wealth by jacking people. But having money doesn't automatically mean someone won't take from others. We're not claiming Silk was out here robbing, but that's what word on the street has been. Plus, you gotta understand, Silk wasn't a rapper, had zero connection to hip-hop, never stepped foot in a recording booth, none of that. He was strictly a street operator focused solely on his hustle and his paper. Silk wasn't documenting his moves through music or blasting his business on social media, which makes it way harder to piece together accurate information about his life. The second theory is what most people rock with and believe to be the truth. Chicago during that era operated completely different from today. While modern street dudes get caught slipping in drive-bys, shot up outside gas stations, or hunted down in alleys by ops, back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, they moved with more calculated precision, where you never saw the bullet or shooter approaching until it was already too late. During this time period in Chicago, many hoods ran like actual organizations with structure in how they conducted their operations. So these project high-rises literally had marksmen posted on rooftops. I know it sounds crazy, but that's reality. If you were an unfamiliar face creeping too close to their territory, that red laser dot would appear on your chest as a warning that they spotted you from blocks away, and you better come with pure intentions where they could erase you instantly. July 31st, 2005 was the day Silk's number got called. Similar to the first theory, Street Talk says he got set up by someone he considered a friend, but Silk didn't accumulate his wealth through robberies. He was a major distributor. On this particular day, he supposedly got caught up in a transaction that went sideways at the Rink Roller Skating Center located at 1122 East 87th Street, where a sniper's bullet struck him in the head, and he died right there on the scene. Vaughn's uncle verified in an interview that his older brother was taken out by a sniper rifle.
I got a special connection to him. I don't have the BD OTF connection. I got a different type of connection. When I saw nigga, I saw my big brother again. Big bro died, I saw my big brother again. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Like, I'm with big bro every day. Kill his daddy with a sniper rifle. This shit get deep though, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, sniper. I hit him with a sniper rifle. They at the skate rink, but you know, that's another story. He was a different nigga, you know what I'm saying? But he just like Vaughn, big heart, he You got a big
A lot of people believe the sniper method was used because getting close to Silk wasn't an option. He commanded so much fear and moved so strategically that catching him slipping on street level would have been nearly impossible. According to street sources, Walter E. Bennett, known as Silk, was allegedly eliminated by someone called Killer Wall, who ran with a crew named Terradome. Even though his father was murdered when he was just a kid, losing his pops to the streets became the defining tragedy that transformed Von permanently. Beyond referencing Silk from Ada Park in his music, you could see King Von's genuine love for his father through how frequently he honored him on social media. That's not someone holding resentment. That's a son who put his father on a pedestal. Despite only sharing limited time together, it's obvious Von treasured every single memory they created. Beyond their striking physical resemblance, Silk and Von were essentially mirror images of each other with countless parallels in their lives. Both started generating serious income while still young. Both earned fear and respect throughout the streets. Father and son both valued loyalty above everything, both had serious game with women, both possessed magnetic personalities and carried themselves uniquely in the streets, and both kept their inner circles extremely tight. Tragically, though, they also shared the same devastating fate of being betrayed and set up by people they considered friends.
Von was set up that night. So therefore, this was orchestrated. The people were paid to kill him that night. Fist for fist, knife for knife, gun for gun. You don't have the right to pull a gun and we're fighting fists. It's a back door. It ain't gonna never make sense to you because you wasn't there for the payment to get dropped off to Lil Tim.
How you know that this payment was dropped off to Lil Tim? I heard you say you was with him.
I'm with him.
Okay, so take us back to that day when you and Vonnie went to go drop off the bag. How did that happen? What was going on?
Vonnie come get me from the house. They already got the money ready in the back of the Suburban, maybe a 97, 98 Suburban. And give me a pipe. I don't ask no questions. We roll and we go to the country part of Georgia, and we can even pull my phone records. And that may let us know because my phone started roaming. This how deep we was in the sticks. My phone was roaming, and we sitting on the side of the highway in a neighborhood though, a little 2-lane highway, sitting on the side of the highway. Lil Tim come flying past us on a 4-wheeler. I didn't know who he was, I didn't know the name. But prior to that, let's go back, prior to that, we pull up on Quando at Quando's crib. My son tried to get the money to Quando. Quando say, no, I don't want nothing to do with that. You gotta go take care of yourself. Like, you're not finna put nobody else's money in my hand and they say it was short or whatever the case may be. You take that to him. You understand? So we end up taking the money to the guy. But I'm not knowing what it's for. I don't know whether or not they finna get some weed later on or what they finna do. I don't know. You know what I mean? But by him saying, Lil Tim running from the police on the 4-wheeler, and like I said, it's like we're in the middle of a drug deal. So I know I Googled my phone because I got a partner named Tim from Memphis. He got caught up running through the woods with bags of money and everything. You can Google it. You can Google it. You know what I mean? And it's the same situation. So it played in my mind because like I said, it's like we're in the middle of a drug dealer. We got money. We got pipes. My man Tim, he got caught up running from the police in the woods. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just say his name, Timothy Woods. You can Google it, Memphis, Tennessee, running from the police. And got caught with 200,000 in the woods and all this type of crazy stuff. So the situation reminded me of that. And then for this to be the same person that ended up shooting Von, this is what that money had to be for.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Von got set up by Vonnie and others, or is that just street rumors and cap?